Amores, Perros is a film directed by Alejandro González Iñárritu. It was released in America in 2001 and was Iñárritu's first feature film. It was released just before The Devil's Backbone, one of his most famous films that led to his future partnership with Netflix. Amores, Perros is a crime drama film that takes place in present-day Mexico City. It has 3 different storylines with different characters. One centers around Octavio, a young man involved with dog fights. Another is about Valeria, a young model whose life is forever changed after she is badly injured. And the third is about El Chivo, an old man who wanders the streets, collects stray dogs, and works as a hitman. Their lives intertwine when Octavio and Valeria get into a devastating car crash. Both of them are badly injured, and El Chivo, who watches the crash happen, comes to intervene. He helps Octavio out of the car, but simultaneously steals from him. Although this is the only time the main characters directly interact, their coexistence is continuously highlighted. Characters from each storyline pass each other on the street, and Valeria's modeling posters are scattered in the background of many scenes. Throughout the film, there's a theme of dogs. Dogs are the center of each plot line and have an important role in each narrative arc. El Chivo says, quote, "Masters take after their dogs," end quote. And I think this is exactly the role of dogs in this movie. The dogs seem to represent their owners. Kofi kills dogs like El Chivo kills humans. Valeria's dog gets stuck under the apartment, representing her entrapment by her injury. Dogs are killed over and over again in fights, representing the human violence in Mexico City. This leads us to another theme: violence. All characters seem to be haunted by violence, death, and injury, but despite their suffering, they turn to it to solve their problems. Octavio and Ramiro fight with each other whenever one of them doesn't get their way. The businessman hires El Chivo to kill his brother when he is cut out of a deal. Violence never solves their problems, though. Octavio ends up single, Ramiro dies, and the businessman ends up kidnapped with his alive brother. I think this is Iñárritu's way of critiquing society. We are surrounded by violence, and sometimes choose it to get ahead, but it never solves our problems. Iñárritu uses several techniques to really make the audience feel the devastation and pain this violence causes. First, he almost excessively shoots scenes of blood, whether it's on people, dogs, or on the ground. Second, he uses a non-linear timeline. Throughout the movie, he cuts to new stories and characters without showing how or in what chronological order they are related to each other. For example, we see shots of Daniel, Valeria's boyfriend, but we don't know who he is until we see him later in Valeria's segment. Third, Iñárritu often strays from traditional mise-en-scène techniques. Instead of starting a sequence with an establishing shot, he often opens with a shot of a specific detail in the location. For example, one time when he shows El Chivo in bed, he first cuts to a zoomed-in shot of a photo, and then he cuts to the establishing shot of El Chivo in his room with the photo. All 3 of these techniques confuse and overwhelm the viewer. We are left in the dark. Until things are unveiled to us, we don't know who people are, or even sometimes where they are. We do know, however, that all characters are suffering. In conclusion, Amores, Perros is a truly captivating and fantastic movie. Despite being Iñárritu's first feature film, he demonstrates masterful knowledge of how to use space, time, themes, and characters to manipulate the story. I now see why he is considered one of the most influential directors. He has only gotten better and more experience from this initial work, and I'm excited to see what he does next.